¿Viste eso?
Fue una buena pelea.
Fue una buena pelea. ¡Emocionate!
Hi, everybody. Terrell Big About Media, and I am here with special guest, Mr. Ego Plum. How are you today?
Doing good. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
And for those who do not know you, can you mind introducing yourself and what you do?
Yeah, my name is Ego, and I'm a composer. Mostly work in animation and cartoons, but yeah, music person. That's me.
One of the top music people, one of the people they
Oh,
go
thank
to
you, man.
if they want the score to be perfect.
Oh, thank you so much for saying that.
So I've had the pleasure myself
Mm.
to interview with a lot of composers, and I've noticed like you guys all have what I honestly I don't think I've ever noticed before is signatures. Like certain sounds where
Mm.
like usually like like you can tell, oh, that's Metallica, certain things like
Sure.
that. But now that I've kind of doing my homework and research, like looking at your other shows and stuff you work on, I'm like, oh yeah, that's Ego worked on that.
Mm.
Worked on that. But my first question for because we're here to talk about Aztec Batman.
Sure.
How did you come across like what brought you specifically to want to get involved in this project?
The project found me. I was really lucky in that I knew a producer, Joanne Estoesta, who I had worked with previously on a show at Nickelodeon called Harvey Beaks. She went on to Warner Brothers and was working on Animaniacs and some other stuff. And she was good friends with Juan Meza Leon, the director of Aztec Batman.
Hmm.
And early on, she says, "Hey, Ego, you should meet Juan. I think you guys would get along." We got together and we hit it off, and the rest is a history, as they say. That was like 4 years ago at this point that we
Wow.
met. Yeah,
I,
it's
I,
been a
I
long time coming.
yeah, I was going to say. I mean, I know with the transitions of like with Warner and animation right now. I know they were we were going a kind of different direction. So I wasn't even sure if this was even still kind of coming out. And I'm glad that this because it's supposed to come out September the 18th of this week, being
Yeah.
released in Mexico and in theaters, and we're also getting HBO Max.
Yeah.
At what point in this animation process did you were you involved musically, like where like, okay, this is the part where we need you to hop on board?
So check this out. When I met Juan, we hit it off as friends, and that's just part of the battle, really. It's important when you're going to work with a director that you guys actually do get along. You're going to be together for sometimes 10 months, 15 months, a couple of years working on a big long project. And it really makes a difference if it's a guy that you want to like, hang out with and have a drink with or whatever. So that was important, but that was only part of this because I knew I had to make a good impression with the music. So even before I was hired, I sat down and I made some demos. I wrote some music that I thought, this is what I think Aztec Batman needs to sound like. And I made a presentation. Like I invited him over and some other friends, including Joanne. And I made like a video presentation that had like images of Batman and bats, and then my music playing just in like loudspeakers. And we all had a few drinks, and that probably helped a little bit. But
Yeah.
I made a good impression, and they eventually hired me. But I started making demos 4 years ago. I wrote like 5 pieces of music. Some of that stuff ended up in the film, those early demos, and I'm also including some of the demos in the release on Spotify in a few weeks too.
Okay, just
Yeah.
a little plug for Spotify.
Not that they need it, but it's streaming. Let's just say when
No, yeah.
the music comes out in streaming.
I always find it funny, like not that you're entitled to it, but you just mentioned like you basically still had the audition to get this, right? Like, but I always
Yeah.
find it like basically with your rap sheet, like did you still kind of have to go in? I mean, obviously you don't want nobody to feel like it's unfair process or anything like that, but I mean, just I think your work itself kind of speaks for itself to be like, oh yeah, I think I already know who we're giving this to. It's definitely Ego. Like,
You know,
based,
that's nice of you to say, but I think like you still got to prove yourself.
yeah,
Like I could be really good, but it doesn't mean I'm a match for a project.
right.
Like, it doesn't like that's not how you measure it, right? Like you could be the best for a certain sound, but I'm just not going to work with a certain kind of cartoon or movie. I have a specific flavor of what I do, and either it's always it could be a great match or it could be a total disaster. I've been fired from jobs too. I've worked on projects for like a year, and then finally they're like, "This is not going to work out." And they let me go after a year of composing music for a series. So I'm an acquired taste in some ways. I'm not like for everybody, I think, and that's good. You were saying earlier about when you hear a composer, you identify like a certain signature.
Right.
That's super important. I think every young composer needs to find what it is that makes them different than everybody else. Like if I had to talk to like young students or whatever, I'd be like, what makes you not like your friend right here next to you? Like
Right.
what is in your sound that makes you unique? Don't try to sound like everybody. Try to sound like something different that no one else is doing. And eventually people will hire you for that. I've been very lucky that now people hire me because they like my sound. But you have to sort of find what that is and search for that in any way you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I feel like
Yeah.
you've answered this question already, but I wrote it down, so I definitely want to say it.
Mm.
What was it like? What was it like collaborating with the director to bring life to the vision of the film through your personal score?
Juan Meza Leon's very talented director. Although this was his first feature film, he had done a ton of work on Rick and Morty, and he worked on a few other series. Um, but he had a very specific vision of what he wanted from the music and from the look, and he was hands on. And I think we went through a few versions of ideas. Like I would try a thing, and he'd be like, "That's pretty good, but we got to push it a little darker." Here's the thing, like my background, like I've worked on SpongeBob and Cuphead. It's all very sort of fun and light and cartoony in the traditional sense, right? But
Right.
this was a total departure. This is dark. There's like death and destruction, and I had to find something else inside me to sort of get these new sounds, right? There's a lot of dissonance and stuff that's just kind of more harsh and noisy, not as melodic and pretty as I'm used to doing. So, Juan was really great at sort of prying that out of me. He was able to get those kind of sounds out of me that I hadn't really done before. So it was super awesome. I give all respect and props to Juan.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the two of you kind of bounced off a lot, and you were able to
Yeah,
kind of bring out something, which
absolutely.
based off of what you said, leads into my next question. Was the Aztec theme of the movie inspiring to bring something out that you have never written before, like something that you didn't think that you would be capable of getting writing?
Absolutely, man. I think here's the deal. Like, I was born here in the US, but my parents are both from Mexico.
Mhm.
And, I've been able to visit where my dad was from in Mexico City. And 10 years ago, I went to Teotihuacan, which is like the Pyramid of the Sun and all that. And like, I feel a connection to Mexico and my people. But when I got this project, I felt like, wow, this is a real responsibility now. There's like going to be young brown kids that are going to be watching this and identifying with this Batman character. And it felt like I was kind of nervous, I'll be honest. Like that's kind of a heavy responsibility to carry and just on the music end alone. And I did research on Aztec instruments and all this stuff. And I was like, am I qualified to do this? I was kind of at certain points, like you second guess yourself. But I realized, you know, I I actually have Aztec blood running through my veins. It's who I am. It's what my family's from. Like I can't do wrong. It's in me, and whatever comes out is going to be correct. So I had
Yeah.
to just believe in myself and believe in that confidence and what it means to me and my family and to a bunch of kids that are going to watch this, and just like go all in and commit to the ideas, even if they were weird or different. I had to just go all in, and yeah, we did some weird stuff. It was really really cool.
I'm glad you mentioned that too, because I mean, like I said, like a lot of opportunity for different cultures, different races. Like the Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Oh
How that
yeah,
means. I feel like getting having the responsibility to showcase that. With Batman, which has been a character that nobody, or Superman, nobody wants to touch or change the
right,
color
right,
palette of those characters. Um, you
totally.
know, there's certain characters like they you just can't you're just not allowed to touch. It's taboo. But to be able to see yourself in like a different role, especially in Mexico, like for them
Yeah,
to get more heroes, or somebody that can represent, I think it's super cool. And to have like your authentic theme, like an authentic theme, like sound to that movie, and not just like an American produced by some random guy that has nothing to do with the culture. It means a lot to this movie. So to hear that this has bones from the ground up, like this is just not just a throwaway Batman situation. This is something that we actually passionate about, and we want this to mean something. Because I feel like that's kind of what they're trying to do now. Like, oh, okay, we could just do Batman different universe and just make him black. What? No, but there's no character, there's no story, there's no feeling for it. There's no, you know what I mean? Like to get that, like to hear like you involved in this project, and the people who said Juan involved in the project, and you guys giving it this level of heart, it definitely makes this mean a whole lot more than I had originally, just looking at the trailers.
Right. You totally nailed it. Everything you said was 100% correct there. And you're right. It's a lot of heart, a lot of responsibility from all of us. But also there's this part of me that can't be afraid to take chances, like taking sort of traditional tribal Aztec sound and then combining it with other things. So like one of the things we did was, when Cortez arrives to discover the new world, he arrives and the Aztecs see for the first time things that had never seen before. Like horses were first introduced when he came, as well as like that armor that they wore, and gunpowder, like explosions had never happened here before. So we wanted to, how do you do that in the music? How do you include elements in the soundtrack that feel like this is completely unexpected? So that's when we would use like electric guitars and like heavy metal drumming and those kind of things to sort of show this shocking contrast of like primitive tribal percussive music combined with electric guitars and even some other like orchestral elements. And the reason I did the sort of like grand orchestral gothic sound was because, man, growing up when I was like 12 or 13, seeing that Tim Burton Batman, the Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson Joker, like that, like totally played a big role on me as a kid. Like it was the first time I paid attention to orchestral music. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. That was a composer, Danny Elfman, that did that. And I was like, this is like what I want to do one day. So that, and also Shirley Walker, who did the music for Batman the Animated Series, the OG one.
Amazing.
Like I was like, that is like another inspiration. That sound, that big gothic orchestral sound. So we combined all that stuff. We got the sort of the primitive drumming, the orchestral stuff, and even like electric guitars, heavy metal, all mixed together. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, we can't be afraid to take risks. Try something new. You don't have to be so precious. You could be respectful, but also take chances and try to take it to new places if you can.
It's funny you mentioned that. Like you said, you everybody knows those names, like Shirley, know, Danny. Everybody knows that. Is I mean, I'm not to say that you're doing this to make it, but is your goal to be on the top of that list one day? People hear the sound, they remember your name off the bat.
Oh,
like,
man.
Because I'm assuming, like, I mean, once this gets out, people are going to hear this and like, man, who's this guy? Let me IMDb this ego real quick. You know what I mean? And
Dude, thanks for saying that.
Right.
Here's the thing, man. Like, as I contrary to the name, like I try to have very little ego in this work I do because you don't know how things are going to change. I'm just grateful to be working right now. I don't know what next year is going to bring, but I know that I'm working today, and that's really good. So I'm just like, as long as I could keep making a living doing this stuff, I'm very satisfied. If people love it, fantastic. But right now I am living the dream of just being able to pay bills being a composer. It's pretty awesome. So yeah. But thank you, man. I would love to be considered, next to those names that I admire so much.
Absolutely. What was one of the biggest challenges you had working on this particular project? Like something like I know, like as a music person, you guys kind of constantly question yourself. Is this right? Like, so like what was like one of the biggest challenges you had working on this?
You're right about that questioning yourself thing, but I've learned to overcome that, because here's the thing, like when you write music, you're just making constant choices, like every second, like, am I going to go to this note or that note? Like, you just have to commit. There's a part of me now that knows to instantly commit to ideas. I know when something's wrong and I instantly know when it's right. And I just sort of follow that. And the other thing that sort of has forced me to be, very committed to an idea and getting it done is deadlines. When something is due on Friday and millions of dollars and people and resources are being put into this project, and everyone's counting on you, like you're going to deliver. You can't wait for your muse or for God to send you a message from above to tell you what to compose. You just got to start writing when you sit down. It's like that's something that I've learned to do. Like I can't procrastinate. I have to be disciplined. Like, people assume artists are kind of, a little more wild and kind of crazy and sporadic and spontaneous, but you have to have a little bit of that to be creative, but also you got to be very disciplined. You got to know how to get up at a certain time and, take a shower and do the things you have to do so you could start working and be productive and be done by a certain deadline, and use schedules and, keep looking at that. Like, okay, I know I have these many cues to get done. Like, can I get 6 of these done today, and then tomorrow another 6? Like, you have to be just super organized. So those are things that are always a challenge, because my instinct is just to, want to be in my underwear all day and just watch TV or whatever. And I have to fight that. I have to fight that to be disciplined and get some work done. So yeah, that's a challenge. And the challenge of deadlines, trying to write what you want, and make sure it's your vision and it sounds as good as it can be and turned in on time. I mean, you could wish you had all the time in the world, but you don't. You have to get it done. And also there's budget restraints. That's the other challenge, right? Like, initially I'm like, Warner Brothers, I'd love to get a big orchestra to do this. Let's record an orchestra in Mexico City. And of course, there isn't enough money to do that. So you find other ways. You get just a few handful of musicians. You bring them to your studio. You do smaller sessions, and you layer stuff so that it creates the illusion of an orchestra. But really, you're layering just a few players combined with like strong sample-based stuff. And then I'll hire just a few musicians, a few different people to do different things. It's like budget stuff and time stuff is always the issue, but the creative stuff is always fun. It's always fun to come up with ideas and invent and just try things. Like, that's the best part for sure.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, like just like the challenge of everyday life. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta structure yourself, or you'll never get anything done. I got a backlog of video games a mile long right now that I really want to finish. Like, I keep buying more games, but I never finish the ones I have. So I definitely understand. Do you have any personal favorite superheroes that you would like to score the music for one day in the future?
I gravitate towards anything a little like left of center, unusual, little weird, like anything that's just sort of, we all love the mainstream stuff, but like if I could choose like something in the DC world, like a bizarro Superman or something that's just a little more eccentric or odd, or what's that character?
Swamp Thing, or
Oh yeah, that's awesome too. What's that weird character with the name with no vowels, like Mr. McSixelplitz?
McSixelplitz, like the Superman villain.
Yeah, like weird. I love weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
That
he seems like he would be like a real Rick and Morty vibe. You know what I mean? Like, right. Kind of the tone to it a little bit.
Yeah. Anything unusual. Like if there's something odd out there, I'll take it. But of course, listen, always grateful to be working. If they call me for Superman, I'm not going to complain. I'll take it.
I think you next. They got so many Superman projects in the works right now. They got the series, they got the movies.
Yeah.
There's no reason why you shouldn't have an opportunity for this at some point after this comes out.
Exactly. Right.
So Warner Brothers, if you watch this, please, he needs Superman project.
Thanks.
Now, like I said earlier, I see the film is getting a theatrical release in Mexico and HBO. How excited are you to hear everybody, in your culture, like, hear this distinctive sound for the first time, like, getting that level of recognition? Because I mean, everybody, I don't care what they tell you, man, everybody likes a little bit of notoriety. Everybody, and I was just saying this stuff today, I don't care who you are, like, it's not being vain, but everybody wants to leave the world with something. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to be known for something. And with you being able to work on this project and it's getting a lot of eyes on, how are you kind of taking that all in? Like, do you feel like a level of responsibility there, or just glad that people, in Mexico and everybody's getting a chance to get something of their own?
You're right. I think all I ever wanted was for people to enjoy the music that I made. When I was a kid and I'd watch certain shows and, grew up with Rugrats or the Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny, and all that. That music meant a lot to me. I would hear it, and it would just like make me laugh and make me feel good. And I just enjoyed music so much in all these kid shows, down to even like Pee Wee's Playhouse. Growing up with that stuff, like I kind of wanted to do that to other people, like the way music affected me and touched me. I wanted to be able to sort of do the same thing. So if I could just reach a lot of people with my sound, like I don't need necessarily the attention directly. I just
Right.
love that my music is out there and people are hearing it. I got to work last year on a ride for Disneyland. So they have this thing, the Haunted Mansion here,
Yeah.
and they expanded this whole thing. We added 40 more minutes of music to the outside. There's like a mausoleum and a garden and all this stuff. And they hired me to do that music. And I thought, wow, I grew up going to this park with my parents, sitting here listening to this music like it always has been playing in my head. And now my music is sort of looping at Disneyland as well. And, affecting little kids, and hopefully they'll, feel the emotions you're supposed to feel, like this creepy, fun ride, and also maybe inspire them to make music or do art or do whatever.
Yeah.
That's my main responsibility here, like passing this on. That's sort of how we become immortal. This is how I could live forever, by leaving this mark on the planet. These little songs, these little bits of things that I've done. That's all I want. And yeah, it's awesome, man. I don't take it lightly. I love it. It's a super big honor to be a part of these projects and be able to leave that little mark in them for sure.
Absolutely. I could definitely hear the level of passion, like just in your voice, like, like when you're talking to me, like how, serious. I mean, I could tell when I talk to people like, oh, this is a job, you got to check, okay, cool.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
this is something completely different. I could
Oh,
tell like
yeah.
a level, like you said, the responsibility and the care that you had on this project is immensely. And I absolutely, I cannot wait to get my eyes on it and hear it for the first time. I'm
Oh,
definitely going to be
thanks.
queuing you up in the car on Spotify.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
Uh,
we'll have that soundtrack out soon, so definitely check that out. And then what's streaming in what's the date again? 18th or 19th?
September 18th, yes.
There you go.
So,
Yeah. So I'm excited for you and everybody to watch it and hear it.
well, Ego, I appreciate you for doing this interview with me today with Big Go About Media. Myself, I'm glad I got the time to spend with you to talk about this movie. Is there anything you want to tell the people that is watching this, the fans of this project, why they should check out Aztec Batman?
If you love great stories and something that just feels new and different, you're gonna love this Aztec Batman. I think all of us that worked on it put a lot of heart into it. It means a lot to us on a sort of deeper emotional level. The cultural aspect is important to all of us too, and it's fun and it's scary and it's crazy stuff in there. The character, the Joker, what we call Yoka, is just insane, absolutely insane. It's going to be like one of the new great villains. So I'm
Right.
excited for everybody to see that. And if enough people support it, maybe we'll have more. Maybe we'll have a sequel and another one and a whole universe of
Yeah.
Aztec Batman. I mean, maybe that's the goal here. That would be amazing. So everyone check it out for sure.
Well, I'm looking forward to the toys. So yeah, I can't
Oh,
wait.
wow.
I
That'd be
can't wait till
great.
the merch comes out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Ego, thank you so much again. Aztec Batman dropping, going to be released in Mexico in theaters on September 18th and released on HBO Max on streaming on September 18th as well. Please check that out. Ego, thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I'm happy that you like this enough that you want to share it with your audience and people out there. So
Absolutely.
thanks a lot.
All right. See you.
Take care.